She wants the toilet rolls rolled out, and I like them with them rolled on the inside against the wall.
A little feedback on that. You're wrong. New degree, who dis? So yeah. Oh, have I told you, so when I hang out with single people, I've already brought this up around you? No?
It's not ringing a bell.
So when I hang out with single people, like people who have not been married before, I feel different from them. Like, I don't truly feel... This is going to sound so emo and like bullcrap like that, but I don't truly feel a part of the group, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, there's a difference between me and them. And I was a little bit worried at first, because I don't want because divorce, as far as I'm concerned, is not a part of who I am. But I think it's a difference of I've been married, and they've not been.
Right, so they don't have those experiences that you have.
It's almost like there's a little bit... It's almost like they're... This is going to sound so high on myself. It's almost like they're less mature.
Yeah.
Like, they really just kind of are. Like, they've not moved... Because marriage is different, man. Like, that's grown-up crap.
Right.
And so it was weird. And so I was concerned about it for a little bit. I was like, well, I don't want... I was afraid it was like the divorce that was the reason, and I felt distant. Not distant. Just different, you know. But I got to thinking later, and I talked with a few people, like, and they were like, "No, I think it's just the fact that you've been married, and that it's just a different world that you've gone through." And so even the people who are like close to my age who are single, I kind of can't help but view them as kind of like kids. And even though like I've only got like 3 years on them or something, they're like 26 or something. I'm just like, I don't know, they're just not adults. Like they are, but they're just. I can't just... It's very hard to describe. If I was good at rhetoric, I'm sure I could describe it better, but they're just kind of not adults yet, man.
No, I understand. I mean, it's like the differences between I and my wife and my kids. When we tell them, don't do that because of this, because we've had the experiences of doing that. And they'll have conversations, you're like, oh, a married person wouldn't do that. You know, and then there's something to be said about, and people would tell me this before I got married, is like, oh yeah, you've dated for a long time and you've gotten to know each other pretty well, but wait till you have to live together.
Mm-hmm. It's very different.
And it's very different, and you're tied together through a marriage contract, and you have to totally learn each other different again. Like, she wants the toilet rolls rolled out, and I like them with them rolled on the inside against the wall.
A little feedback on that. You're wrong. Comes over the top towards you, not around the bottom.
No, goes out underneath the bottom.
What kind of anarchy nonsense is? That's chaos, dude. Next you know, it's dogs eating dogs. Cats and dogs are sleeping with each other. It's chaos out there. You gotta maintain some order.
No, toilet paper on the back roll, because, man, if you hit it, it just spins around. It doesn't dump all the toilet paper on the floor.
Don't bring some logic, practical nonsense into that.
I'm an engineer. That happens.
That makes sense, though. That actually makes a lot of sense with the other way. Well, what if it gets hit the other direction? It just rolls down.
No,
it all depends on how you hit it, Gary.
Depends on how you hit it.
Depends on how you
but
hit
when
it.
you have a little kid that walks up to it and goes and rolls it out on the floor when they're little, yeah, you learn to put them on the other way.
You do tend to roll it the other way.
Yep.
Gary. You make a very good point.
So
and your pragmatism.
Sure. Engineering brain of mine. Thinking about practical things instead of it looks good.
That's so funny.
It's like the difference between one of my roommates. He was dating pretty heavily when we were sharing apartments, and his girlfriend, he went to help her get a stereo for her brand new truck.
Mm-hmm.
The criteria for her stereo was it had to be cute and the right color. That was it.
You don't ever see the damn thing.
Mm-mm.
Well, I guess the console you did.
Just the console, the front end.
Like how it mixed up damn and dang and said dame.
Pink and purple thing, and it sounded like crap, but she was happy.
Yuck.
And I'm like, no, it's got to be sound.
It's gotta have. If you want to get something with good, you might as well have kept your car speakers at that point and like use some spray paint to like. If you wanted it to look cute.
I had totally convinced myself that I was never going to marry a girl like that. because I want to, they're real girls are practical. Not his girlfriend was not.
Real girls are practical. That's what we call ladies.
But my wife is very practical, so she thinks more about function than pretty. But my two daughters, totally the opposite. They're just like my friend's girlfriend.
Dang, they're still very young though. It's all about it's all about the cute stuff then.
I don't know. My oldest is, when it comes to conversation and stuff like that, very, very intelligent.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm not saying that they're dumb and they want stuff to be cute.
Right, but there are just some things that you think common sense would dictate that, or common sense for me, because I'm almost 50 and I've got 30 years on her of experience, and she should know what I know.
Right though.
Right, but we had that stereo conversation in her car. And she's like, "Oh, just want a blue car." And I go, "I just want one that goes forward when you put it in gear."
Yeah. Like, it can be blue. It has to be a good car first.
Right.
When we first got that hatchback out there, I hated it. Some small little... It looks like a girl's car to me. Kind of, My view has changed a little bit, but what sold me on it was... Well, there wasn't really much else by way of choice as to what we got, but the gas mileage, I was like, okay, I'll drive a little Ford hatchback if the gas mileage is really good. So...
You turn it into a rice grinder.
No.
Put some little wide tires on it.
No.
Put two of those little glass pack pop can sounding things on the back. So when you hit on the gas, it sounds like bad gas.
No. The next vehicle I want to get is probably like a truck or like one of those, what do they call it, mini SUV or compact SUVs, where so I can store more stuff in it, take that off-roading. Which this car can't really do much. So that's what I want next. The gas mileage won't be as good, but I want an adventuring vehicle.
Yeah, that's what we're getting for my wife next one. We've had this van since 2003, and because of my wife's job, she travels all over the valley and stuff doing home health. She put a ton of miles on it. I mean, wow, she'll put more miles on in 2 months than I put on my truck in a year. And but it's time to get her a new car, so we've been saving our pennies and stuff. But we're looking at the smaller SUV types. She won't drive vehicles. She will not drive my truck. But she'll drive that, and I want to get rid of that minivan so bad. When we bought it, it was great. I mean, I got a good deal on it. It's got a bigger tank. It was
had young kids.
Rent-A-Car, flip back. Young kids, got TV system in it that kept them entertained and all that fun stuff. But now it's great for holding a whole bunch of medical supplies, which is what it does right now.
Actually, I think truck and SUV sales are higher than car sales. People like being higher off the road. They like the fact that if you're in an accident, you're not the tiny thing getting squished.
Yeah.
And nowadays, actually, even those vehicles come with pretty good gas mileage. You have to get the big, beefy stuff to not get good gas mileage. So.
Yeah, my truck's an EcoBoost. I get as good a gas mileage as my wife gets in her van.
Yeah.
For the most part. So, but that's a Utah. That's a Rocky Mountain thing. Trucks and bigger, higher. You go back east, they want smaller, tinier.
Interesting. I'll say we are in the mountains, so kind of, you want things that can go places.
Yeah. So, but my truck's too big to go up the mountains now because the razors and stuff. A lot of the roads and stuff are growing, so the feds don't do tree trimming and that kind of stuff along the roads.
Less people are bringing their trucks up there.
Yeah, less people are bringing their trucks, so it's grown in. And so when I had my Explorer, they fit. I could go anywhere a four-wheeler went in that thing. But my truck that I have now is too big to do that kind of stuff. Plus, I don't want to either.
Yeah.
So I don't like Rocky Mountain pinstripes in my truck. So
Rocky Mountain pinstripes.
Yeah. It's those nice scrapes that the tree branches put in your paint, in your clear coat.
So I'm torn on that. When I get a new vehicle, I might be kind of proud of the wear and tear that is shown on it, because it's kind of hey, I've done fun things. At the same time, it's kind of I like to keep nice things looking nice, So I'm kind of torn on that, but if it's new and nice, you don't want to ding it. But at the same time, it's kind of
I want to go to the mountains. I don't know. I bought it to
yeah,
play.
Yeah.
So that's why I have my son's 2-wheel-drive pickup.
There you go.
I took it to the top of Mount Logan. Almost didn't make it up. Almost didn't make it down. they've improved the road up there quite a bit, but it's getting rough again. And there's a couple spots you need 4-wheel drive still.
I've never been up there.
You never have?
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to take you up there this summer then.
Yeah,
I like to go up there about August, September, just to go for a drive.
Yeah, we should. That'd be fun to have can you have a bonfire there? Or are there places where you
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's plenty of places up there.
We should do that. We should take a few brothers up or something and have a roast or something.
Yeah, no, that'd be cool.
Maybe
we can get Kurt to take us in his Jeep.
Ooh, that should fit.
Because we used to take his Jeep up there a long time ago on the old road.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was about the only thing you could get up there in. I'd ride in the back seat of that Jeep, and by the time we got to the top, the seatbelt had cinched down so hard I couldn't get it to unlatch. So, but, oh yeah, good times. Worked on the repeater on the mountaintop up there a lot, so we'd go up there 3 times a year or so to work on things. Had smell like Clorox.
Mine smelled like I just cleaned something, because I did. Even though I washed my hands. After the fact.
So what else do you want to talk about?
I don't
wish
know.
I brought that video. That's pretty cool.
Wish you had.
It shows all the appendant bodies, or a lot of the appendant bodies anyway. It talks about the York Rite and the Scottish Rite, and some of the stuff they give you little glimpses in and stuff. It's pretty cool. But I'll make sure I get that to you next week.
Did you ever watch the one on Netflix? Which I think they did a bad job of naming it, called Inside the Freemasons or Inside...
Is that the one where they follow the Grand Lodge of England?
Yeah, it's
Yes,
England.
I've seen that one.
They should have chosen a different name, man. You can't talk about being inside anything without it sounding just bad. In these days. I'm like, you guys should have chosen a different name.
It's the evil Masons.
Right.
So, but no, I watched that before I became an EA. Right before I became an EA. I was initiated.
It was out then, huh?
Yeah.
How much of a time gap was there between my initiation and yours?
Quite a bit.
What?
Mine was 2 years ago. In February.
Oh, and mine was about 3-ish years ago. So yeah, so about a year-ish maybe.
You were about a year in, yeah.
So
time flies when you're having fun.
Indeed it does.
Cool. What's the last thing we should talk about?
I don't know.
Fred the Head here?
Fred the Head.
That we can no longer have in lodge. We can't put... Did you read the Grand Master's last edict?
Huh.
So it has to be read in lodge, but it comes out and it talks about...
I didn't even get an email about that. Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't think they just send it to the wardens and the masters.
That's dumb.
I don't think they don't. I think they sent this one all out. And but it's talks about rooms of reflection, and that we cannot put a candidate, or it hints to this. I think that we can't put a candidate in a room by himself. We've done that. I did it with here.
Well, there's kind of almost...
What are you going to do?
What else are you going to do?
We're opening lodge.
We're opening lodge. He's waiting outside. He'll be in some room
by himself.
Of some sort by himself.
Yeah, I don't...
This one just happens to have a skull in it.
Right.
That's just because I like skulls. I think they should be a part of masonry, but it just looks... This is not a room of reflection.
Right, no, this is a library.
Yeah.
So, but no, it's just...
What else?
I want to ask questions, so if you get an opportunity to read it, go read it.
Well, it's not in my email, so...
Maybe I'll forward it to you.
Yeah. That would be good. Because he has to be in some room by himself of some sort. He's waiting here outside.
Well, I thought it was pretty cool because, I mean, when I did mine, Kurt brought me in here. And he says, hey, you get an opportunity to kind of think about what you're committing yourself to.
Mm-hmm.
He said, don't look at those books over there. Just take some time to think and ponder,
I might get somebody in trouble by saying this. I don't know. But I was told that if I wanted to, I could ponder on...
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and so I did. So I sat there, and by the time I got... Well, hang on, I might be saying too much.
Yeah, but you got the delete key.
And so, it's true. So I came to the conclusion that ultimately, my trust is in God, because when all else fails, that's all you have left, And so... And that was good. It gave me something to think of, because you don't know what to expect. You don't know, you kind of have an idea of what you're committing to, but until you're in,
No, you don't. Unless
Yeah.
you read ahead.
And I really enjoyed that time. Like, that time to sit there and think and be prepared and just kind of like to quiet your... It's more like... It's not so much to think about anything, but kind of to prepare yourself for the serious experience that you're about to have. And so there's no... And while they're waiting outside for us to open lodge, you might as well tell them, hey, just sit here and think and get ready for what you're about to go through.
Well, and I think that was an appropriate question just because...
Mm-hmm.
And it gave you some focus to your reflection.
Yeah.
So, not using
There
that word,
was-
or I could get in trouble for using that word, but...
I've only heard one person give the wrong answer to... I don't know how much of this I'm going to be able to keep in. I've only heard one person give the wrong answer to that. I mean, he never made it past the EA.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But he said... You know, he was asked the question, which I shan't repeat, even though you already know at this point. And he said, myself. Which is not a bad answer.
Right.
But, and, you know, and there's...
It's not the right answer! Oh.
And there's questions you're asked in Lodge where, like, you have to be prompted the right answer, you know?
Right.
Looking back, you're like, why didn't I just... I'm just going to bleep it out. Like, why didn't I say... It was very clearly the answer was supposed to be... and like, you're like, truth or something.
Yeah,
you know, like, I have no idea what this... I don't even think I answered. I think I was kind of like... and then...
That's the way I was.
And I was like, oh... Yeah, sure.
I waited for Andrew to give me the answer.
Because I was like, I don't know. Phil's answer was good.
His was.
Yeah, like it wasn't, like it made sense. You know, that could almost be the right answer.
There were a lot of them he answered without being prompted.
He was willing to just put himself out there and, you know, and try to... So, I like that. It was good. It was good. He wasn't afraid to speak up.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'm going to make that part work.
You might have to delete that whole section out.
I think the bit about Phil being not afraid to answer, you know, like not being afraid of being wrong
Right.
per se, like I think I can keep that in to make it work. But nah, so anyways.
So he mentioned reading something.
Carl Jung.
Carl Jung.
Yeah. If you've not used, well,
I've never heard of that. What is it?
he's a psychologist. I think would be the best way to describe him. But he's not in vogue in the universities and stuff because he was a little bit out there and stuff, if that makes sense. But not in like a bad way. In like the sense of like the archetypes and hero's journey and like subconscious and stuff like that.
What's his name again?
Carl Jung. Jung is spelled Jung, which
German.
I knew that he had mentioned before that he had read some of that stuff, and I was like, ooh, I'm actually kind of impressed with that because he really does, like, anyways, a lot of his stuff links up with the esoteric stuff.
A Swiss psychiatrist
Oh, there you go, yeah.
and psychoanalyst.
Yeah. I mean, wrong about some things as all people in the past were, but I think he focused a lot on, like, the archetypes and kind of, like, the stories within stories, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And
Is there a
so-
specific book that you all recommend? Because I like
No.
reading different stuff and being exposed to
Actually,
different things.
instead of reading Jung, I would recommend reading or either consuming some form of media of Jordan Peterson,
Yes, and I've started listening to his stuff.
because he has studied Jung, even though he was told not to. It's like, no, we just don't do that here. He was like, well, this stuff makes sense. Like, there's truth in here, and so he went for it. You know, and
Why would you tell somebody not to study something?
Because it's the university. You have to do what the norm is. You have to do what's correct, what's right.
We need to respect everybody.
It's right? It's not a place of truth anymore. It's a place of what you're expected to believe. So.
And that was our conversation Thursday night, too.
Yeah.
It was like, we were talking about math. That's what brought up this whole conversation. It was like, A plus B equals 4. No, A plus B equals 5, you know?
Yeah, no, if you get the right answer, but in the wrong way,
Yeah.
then shame on you. It's like, who cares how you get there? If you understand, the method doesn't matter. What matters is understanding why you get the answer.
Right.
But they don't care. It's got to be...
Well, in my mind, universities should be... Well, you shouldn't be learning this at the university level. You should learn this in elementary, middle school, and high school, is how to learn.
Yeah.
And then in college,
Should learn to like to learn, to love to learn. That learning's fun, not I have to get these things crammed in my head, spit them out on a test, and then forget it.
Right, and then when you get to college, you some of your courses should be a breadth of things, so you get an understanding of many different things from many different directions.
Mm-hmm.
But the majority of your education should be focused on that thing you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if I'm going to be an electrical engineer, I need to understand,
Yeah, that stuff really well.
Yeah, how to program and
but
how
the
to
point
lay
of
on
university
board and all
was
that
to
kind of stuff. Not for them to tell me what to do and how to think it.
It was supposed to, like, that was kind of, you should be learning the trivium your entire life. That was one of the places where you were really supposed to learn that, how to think for yourself and how to take in new information, not accept it per se, but take it in and then compare that to what you know, what you think, and then change what you think based on, but now you're just told what to think instead of how to.
Yeah.
So.
So that how to read a book that we've been reading for that great.
Oh, dude, isn't
course?
that the driest, most long-winded thing you've ever read in your life?
It is, but it's been very interesting.
Oh no, it's a good book, but dear heavens, apparently he loved to hear himself talk a lot. So apparently he's long-winded in his books because he was in real life too. He would just go on and on and on.
Oh, I didn't know that. So
yeah.
We haven't had our first seminar yet on the book yet, and technically, I haven't attended our first seminar because they did it on a different night, but. In reading that book, though, it was interesting to kind of realize that the majority of us don't read to learn. We read for entertainment purposes, and we don't. All of us have not been really taught how to really read a book.
Yeah,
We've just been taught like to a 6th grade level, and that's it. And that's why we spend so much time in colleges and stuff reteaching people how to read stuff.
Yeah. So when I joined OGB, we actually started out with the Iliad. And you were given,
like stab you in the foot right at the beginning.
And you were given how to read a book to read on your own time, which I didn't really do. I kind of started to, and I was like, man, this guy doesn't shut up. Anyways, you could condense that thing down into like a 100-page pamphlet and get all the same information.
Right.
Anyways.
But they don't have us read the whole thing, only read like the first 150 pages or so.
But that shows how, and there's different sections of like how to read philosophy, how to read, so you can kind of pick and choose your parts.
Okay.
But, I do wish but that just shows how they've been, it's still a very young program. It's only been around for 4 or 5 years, but it shows how they've been improving and changing and stuff like that, so. Man, like, for instance, I was excited to read some Aristotle. I hate it so much.
Really?
I don't want to poison the well with what you should expect, but it's very good. Like, no sentence is wasted, but it's so dense, and it's kind of boring, and I know it's important stuff, so I'm trying to, but I'm not enjoying it. I'd rather go back and read some Plato. I enjoyed Plato. Like, sometimes you're really mad at Socrates. You're like, shut up and stop asking questions. But, now, Plato to me is, enjoyable instead of, something I have to, read. And Aristotle is just kind of like, oh boy, here we go again. So, but that'll be a few years out.
Yeah. Yeah, we start off with the Iliad, though. That's the first book.
Yes, that's the first actual, book of the great books that you read. I love... The Iliad is good. When people ask me what my favorite book is, I tell them the Odyssey. But I tell them, before you read the Odyssey, you should read the Iliad, because you get the backs. It's just some of the characters, what's been going on. It's just better if you read it first.
You get the background story.
I can't wait for when you start to read the books that I've read, and we can discuss them.
Yeah, so
that's what this podcast will become, is
a discussion of books.
A discussion of books, which is not a bad thing. But actually,
advertising for a great online book course.
Yeah. Which, you should go to onlinegreatbooks.com. There's a video in there where it explains what it's about. If you go to Whence Came You, the Masonic podcast, there's an episode in there where the owner and starter of Online Great Books comes in and talks about how it relates to the FC degree, where you're told to learn, the trivium and quadrivium, and how you're basically charged to learn for your entire life. And he makes it Masonic. And that's what sold me on it. That's how I found out about it. And I was like, oh, this is important. So...
I can already tell it's had an effect on you because you're using those big, nasty words that I'm sitting there going, what'd you say again?
The trivium is I always get the order wrong. Grammar, logic, and rhetoric. Because grammar is like how the parts work. The logic is putting the parts in proper order. And rhetoric is making it sound nice.
Gotcha.
And then the quadrivium is... I don't think I know. Actually, hang on. This is where I reveal that I'm actually really pretentious, but don't know there's like a... Oh, we're taught this in the FC, man. It's like a...
Yeah, you're talking to a guy who was an FC for a matter of an hour.
I know. And I was one for like over half a year, like 9 months maybe. Anyways, there's geometry. I think geometry, astronomy, music is in there.
Yeah.
And geometry, astronomy, music. I don't know what the fourth one is. I forgot. Anyways, it's not important. Well, it is important, but we can move on. Anyways, so...
No, that's interesting.
So yeah, I forgot where we were going because I took so long to on my little side point.
No, we were just talking about the Online Great Books course.
Yeah.
And
so go and sign up. If you sign up before the waiting time opens, you're put on the VIP list where you're sent some stuff to read and learn more about it, and then people on the VIP list are given the first slots.
Yes.
So it's like you signed up. You're just not until, yeah.
So it's been fun so far. I've only been 2 weeks into it, so I've learned more in a couple weeks just because I'm thinking about learning as I'm reading it instead of.
Mm-hmm.
But, and to help with the payment to that great online course, please send your check to our charitable accounts at the Shriner Hotel or in short cash to.
It used to only be $60 a month,
right?
But the guy fought it for months. But his whole financial side of things were telling him like, we've got to increase the price, and he was like, no, I don't want to. And eventually, like, he had to face the facts of like, we need to increase the price.
Well, he's paying for some online tools
that aren't cheap,
that
like the shipping
using.
of books and stuff. You know,
yeah. That Slack stuff isn't.
You've got to pay the hosts of the seminars for their time. You know, like the infrastructure. So the people who had the old price only got bumped up $10, I think, and I think the actual price for new people is $20 more. I think it's $80 a month now, about right? Yeah, which is still well worth it. I pay the full new price, but he told us that the people who were there already would just pay $10 more, and I was like, okay, fair.
That's
cool. But I would have stayed on for the full price. Well worth it. Well worth it.
Yeah, so I paid for mine. I decided it was just easy. They give you a little discount for paying like 6 months or a whole year. Yeah. So I just paid for a whole year.
If I had that much free cash on hand, that's how I would do it.
So I don't, but I did it anyway.
I could have gotten you... Did you get some kind of like a discount code for like 3 months to be a bit off or something?
Yeah.
Because there's different methods you can use, like a few different... Like, you know, if you listen to their podcast, they'll give you like the code podcast for it or something. But anyways, I'm so excited that you're in that. I can't wait to hear what you think about the books you read and we can discuss them. And...
No, it's pretty cool. He sent me all the books that we'll do in the year.
Oh, so when you pay the upfront, you get all... Oh,
well,
you've got a stack.
Way, so I've got a stack like this sitting on my desk, amongst the stacks of other books that I have in there.
So that means you've got the Iliad, the Odyssey, some Greek tragedies, which are a ton of fun. Oh, yeah. By the way, love those. They're so good. They're so good. You don't need Shakespeare. You just need those. They're amazing.
So, yeah, I'm just finishing up Hamlet, so...
Nice.
It's the first book of Shakespeare's that I've ever read.
Andrew has a theatrical production of Hamlet that is very good. It comes on 2 different discs because it's 2 hours a piece.
Oh yeah,
because it's the full play. There's nothing cut.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
you know the actor of I hate that I'm making this reference, but like that foolish professor in like Harry Potter 2 or something, like.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's got him in it.
Okay.
As Hamlet. That dude, his talent was wasted in Harry Potter playing some fool. Actually, it actually shows
the reason they picked him up in Harry Potter is because they like to get all the popular English actors to.
And the fact that you hate him so much in that movie means that he's actually really good at acting because you despise him. He's clearly a fool, so he plays it really well. But seeing him do Shakespeare was so much fun.
Okay.
And Andrew let me borrow that. I'm sure he'd let you borrow. Well worth the watch. Holy crap! Like I still go on YouTube and watch his little "To Be or Not to Be" spiel because it's just done well and it's great.
That was cool.
It's well worth the watch. So
that's cool.
So much fun.
Should we wrap it up on that?
Yeah, I guess so.
Give us an ending.
How
So
is this gonna?
So we're gonna take Jason's place. Thanks for listening to us. Please subscribe to our podcast. We have a website as well, fromthenorthpodcast.com.
We're on YouTube.
We're on YouTube as well. There's short bios there. You can send us emails, etc. Also, please make sure to send Jason emails, lots of them, telling him that he should be here.
And that, but also include in those emails a congratulatory note on being engaged.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Going back to what we talked about in the beginning, being nice.
Being nice.
God, I was hoping for the bad stuff.
No.
Fill his inbox.
And actually, for the few people who do listen to this, if you have something you want discussed, just send us a message. Like if it's something that you're like afraid to ask in Lodge or something maybe, or you'd just like to hear it discussed to see kind of like just to bounce ideas off people. That'd be a lot of fun. I don't know how many people. I don't think many people listen to this, but a few people from our lodge do. Like a topic or two would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it would be.
Because I'm not afraid to say what I think, because we have a disclaimer at the end of this for a reason. So
that is true. That is true. So thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time. These should be coming a little more frequently. And Jason, you suck.
Ooh, okay.
The hosts of the From the North podcast are providing this broadcast as a public service and for their own selfish motives. It is neither a legal interpretation nor statement of any Grand Lodge, local lodge, or any Masonic body or Freemasonry in general. Any reference to any specific product, subject, or entity does not constitute an endorsement or recommendation. The rantings, tomfoolery, and views expressed by the guests and the host are absolutely their own, and their appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of them, any Grand or local lodge, or any entity they represent.
Depends on how
But when you have a little kid that walks up to it and goes, brrr,